Hello! Good day everyone. I am one of the presenters from Group 10 and the topic that we are going to tackle is about giftedness, which is under the learners with exceptionalities. But before we formally begin, let us introduce ourselves first. I am Natalie Joy D. Cales.
I'm Catherine de Serna.
I am Lovely Joyce Perez.
And I am Maria Chasin Tokmo. And we are the Group 10.
These are our learning objectives or outcomes. Number 1, know the definition of giftedness. Number 2, know the different traits and characteristics of a gifted child and the domains of giftedness. Number 3, determine the IQ level of a gifted child and be able to identify gifted students in the classroom. What comes to mind when you hear the word gifted? Do you think of students who achieved perfect grades, prestigious academic awards, and extensive praise from their professors and peers? Or those with exceptional talent in a certain field, such as art, music, or performing? This isn't always the case, as many people possess extraordinary qualities that go unappreciated. In order to better understand the topic of giftedness, we will going to know what giftedness genuinely means in this video. Defining giftedness. Children who are gifted are those who demonstrate an advanced ability or potential in one or more specific areas when compared to others of the same age, experience, or environment. These gifted individuals excel in their ability to think, reason, judge, making it necessary for them to receive special educational services and support to be able to fully develop their potential and talents. There are a variety of definitions for the giftedness, none of which is universally accepted. Definitions often guide and influence key decisions in schools, such as determining eligibility and criteria for gifted education programs and services. What areas of giftedness will be addressed, for example, specific abilities in a subject area such as math, and when the services will be offered depending on the context. It is vital for parents of gifted students as well as professionals who interact with gifted children to grasp the many categories and what they mean in order to provide the necessary advice and support for social-emotional development. Gifted children come from all different racial and ethnic backgrounds as well as economic status. While no two gifted children are the same, many share common gifted characteristics and traits such as advanced thinking and comprehension above their age peers, emotional intensity at a young age, heightened sense of self-awareness, highly developed curiosity, and excellent memory. Advanced thinking and comprehension above their age peers. Advanced thinkers value the deep and systematic internalization of critical thinking into their daily habits. Advanced thinkers have keen insight into the role of egocentrism and sociocentrism in thinking, as well as the relationship between thoughts, feelings, and desires. Somebody who thinks about who she or he really is and what is the purpose of my existence, why was I born, and who is God, and what is my relationship with Him is an advanced thinker. In other words, an advanced thinker is somebody who thinks about existence, reflects over his existence, and somebody who doesn't just accept the body and its culture as the all-in-all. What are egocentric and sociocentric thinking? Egocentric thinking is the normal tendency for a young child to see everything that happens as it relates to him or herself. This is not selfishness. Young children are unable to understand different points of view. For example, a preschool child might sympathize with his or her father and try to comfort him by offering a favorite toy or stuffed animal, reasoning that what helps the child feel better will also comfort the adult. Egocentric thinking also can cause a young child to feel responsible if something bad happens. Whereas Sociocentric thinking is a personality dependent on the social atmosphere. An example is the person that acts differently around different groups of people. In addition, sociocentric thought is the native human tendency to see the world from a narrow and biased group-centered perspective, to operate within the world through subjective and partial group beliefs, group influences, group rules, groupthink, and group interests. Emotional intensity at a young age. Emotionally intense people have a capacity for compassion, empathy, and sensitivity in relationships. They show strong emotional attachments to people, places, and things. They may identify with or absorb others' emotions and be overwhelmed by what they see and perceived in the social world. Emotional intensity in the gifted is not a matter of feeling more than other people, but a different way of experiencing the world. Vivid, absorbing, penetrating, encompassing, complex, commanding, a way of being quiveringly alive, critical self-evaluation and self-judgment, feeling of inadequacy and inferiority. Heightened sense of self-awareness. Self-consciousness is a heightened sense of awareness of oneself. An unpleasant feeling of self-consciousness may occur when one realizes that one is being watched or observed, the feeling that everyone is looking at oneself. Self-awareness is an important skill for kids with learning and thinking differences. Children who are self-aware are familiar with their strengths and weaknesses. This means they know what they're good at and what they need to improve at to be successful. Highly developed curiosity. Intellectual curiosity refers to an individual's genuine interest in learning, not just about a particular subject, but about a wide variety of topics and ideas. An intellectually curious individual is the type of person one would describe as having a love of learning. Gifted children often demonstrate a strong curiosity. They want to know everything there is to know about everything right now, and often they latch on to a particular subject or area of interest and decide what they want to read, study, and see everything about that subject, and sometimes only that subject. They don't want to move on to something new until they have a thorough understanding of the topic with which they are engrossed. Last, excellent memory. Hyperthymesia is also known as highly superior autobiographical memory, or HSAM. According to a 2017 study, people with hyperthymesia can accurately and readily recall numerous details about events that have occurred in their real life. Gifted children are often able to retain information faster and for longer periods of time than average children of the same age. Their rapid learning ability allows them to process facts quickly and retain them for efficient recall later on. High memory retention combined with fast information processing often means these children learn subjects at a rapid-fire rate that can make it challenging for parents and teachers to present information to gifted children as fast as they like. Well, I guess that's all, and here now is Miss Cathy Rose de la Serna for the different domains of giftedness.
Thank you, Ms. Calas. And now I will discuss the 5 domains of giftedness. So what are the 5 domains of giftedness? First, we have intellectual. Second, creative. Third, artistic. Fourth, leadership. And the last is academic. First, we will discuss what is intellectual. So what is intellectual? Intellectual learners are not as easily identified as are the other 2 types of learners. Intellectual learners tend to protect themselves with their ability to achieve and produce on an intellectual level. Learning will proceed at an intellectual level but break down when put to practical use. So they are the person nga mas interesado sa logic kaysa sa mga pagpati. So next we have creative. Creative learners are intrinsically motivated and independent. When they are interested in a task or creation, they will see it through with very little assistance needed from adults. They also think deeply about whatever they're working and will come up with new levels of depth in traditional topic. So they are the person nga satisfied. They have the ability na mag-invento or mag-develop with original ideas, especially in art. So the third domain is artistic. An artistic personality type uses their hands and mind to create new things. They appreciate beauty, unstructured activities, and variety. They enjoy interesting and unusual people, sights, texture, and sounds. These individuals prefer to work in unstructured situations and use their creativity and imagination. So these are the people that have an extraordinary drawing talent. The fourth domain of giftedness is leadership. Student leaderships are visionaries and are goal-oriented. They are able to see beyond the task at hand at the bigger picture. They have personal desires, goals, and will be able to identify the steps to get there. They are the people na mo lead or mo guide others through your behavior instead of words. Your intention is to inspire other people. And now let's proceed to the last domain, which is academic. So what is academic? A person who is academically gifted has a strong cognitive and thinking skills, or that person can learn, access, or comprehend information well at timed tests. These are the person who are involved in learning. One of the example of this is a teacher or scholar at a college or university. And the 5 domains of giftedness are intellectual, creative, artistic, leadership, and academic. And now let's give the floor to Miss Lovely Joyce Perez.
So at this time, I'm gonna discuss about the IQ of a gifted child. So what is the IQ of a gifted child? Intelligence quotient or IQ test can be used to determine giftedness in some children, depending on which test is used. The gifted IQ range is as follows. The first one, mildly gifted with the IQ range of 115 to 129. The second one, moderately gifted with the IQ range of 130 to 144. And the third one, highly gifted with the IQ range of 145 to 159. Usually, a highly gifted person is considered to be someone with a very high IQ. Sometimes, high giftedness is defined as someone that is not only very smart, but also a very creative and good in finding solutions to a practical problems. So the fourth one, the exceptionally gifted. Exceptionally and profoundly gifted are children whose capacity to learn is significantly advanced even beyond the average for the intellectual gifted. These children are extremely intelligent. Their capacity to learn is enormous. And the last IQ range is profoundly gifted with the IQ range of 180 or higher. What is profoundly gifted? Those who are profoundly gifted score in the 99.9th percentile on IQ test and have an exceptionally high level of intellectual prowess. These students score at least 3 standard deviations above the norm on the bell curve. So they are at the extreme end of the intelligence or IQ continuum. So, the best example person for the exceptionally and profoundly gifted is Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein had with the IQ range of in between 160 and 180. And now, let's proceed to the example programs to cater for different levels of giftedness. So let's have first the mildly gifted. We have enrichment in the regular classroom. The second one, modified curriculum. And the third one, curriculum compacting. And for the moderately gifted, we have advanced work, challenges within content, some form of ability grouping, and single grade skip. And the third one, the highly gifted. Fast-paced content work in the talent area, ability grouping at least in the talent area, acceleration options, challenging academic enrichment, and mentorship. And for the exceptionally gifted, highly individualized program, radical acceleration, 3+ carefully spaced grade skips, and specific counseling services. And for the profoundly gifted, we have early admission to university, highly individualized program, and special program searches and counseling searches. So, those are the example programs to cater the different levels of giftedness. And I'm giving this floor to Miss Tokmo.
How to identify gifted students in a classroom. So what do you think? Does anyone have the idea? Okay, to identify the gifted students in a classroom, there are 6 checklists that each student exhibit. Number 1, the successful student. 2, the challenging student. 3, the underground student. 4, the angry or at-risk student. 5, the twice exceptional student. And 6, the autonomous student. Second, the challenging student. First, she experiences boredom and frustration when work is not challenging or related to her interest. Example, the teacher gave a task to the student related to the subject mathematics. And there was a twist that whoever were able to answer first with formula and earn equivalent points. So if the student is not interested in numbers, then for him, it is not challenging for them. Second, usually the students who question an alignment or ask why. Remember, this type of student under challenging always ask a question with why. Example, why use Google Meet in an online class setup when there is a Zoom? Second example, why is your answer is different from mine? Third, why doesn't he want to borrow a ruler and pen? Third, she is creative and able to identify and solve problems in multiple unique ways. Simply means a challenging student, when there is a problem, he experiences to solve it in a unique way. However, A whole decision with a worthy goal is matter for those students under the challenging student or learner. The third under checklist is the underground student. Number 1, she is often but not always a female. 2, he is insecure and concerned about how others perceive him or her. 3, she wants to belong socially more than she wants to be seen as smart, and she will sacrifice her needs and desires to fit in a group, even if it means sabotaging her work in order to remain unnoticed. 4th, due to his desire to belong, he feels guilty when his gifts and strengths set him apart from his friends. The explanation under the underground student, for example, this is an underground student who is willing to take risks with everything he owns, as long as his peers will never abandon him or her. This way, they want to be a loner, and he will appreciate more if giving off is unstable, so they prefer to set aside what they have for a group that he doesn't want to lose. 4th, the angry or at-risk student. She performs below her ability level and rarely recognized as gifted. So perform below the ability level and rarely recognized as gifted or talented student. So this is the rationale of his emotions and anger to explode. 2, he gets feedback from adults and peers that he isn't a good student. 3rd, often seen as rebellious, loner or learner, and therefore the angry or at-risk student is really get discouraged, but because to complete task and regularly disrupted, or disrupted means a trouble in a class, somehow it can cause misunderstanding and conflicts due to out of control and mix of emotions. The 5th one, the twice exceptional student. In addition to being gifted, she also a learning disability. For example, a neurological condition which affects the brain and ability to send and receive process information. It affects the student ways on learning new things throughout their studies and understanding new complex information. 2nd, she feels powerless and lonely because her ability is often far exceed from his or her performance. For example, their abilities often far exceed his performance. So this is a wrong way for student to study or deteriorate in learning, because it is better if it is fair and just to continue. 3rd, he appears below average academically because his strengths are masked by his disabilities. Therefore, the twice exceptional student often has to work a slower pace than his or her peers because of her disabilities, and it develops a low self-esteem. A learner wants to solve on his own without the help of others because they will know the reason to solve in proper way of solving. That is the twice exceptional students are the 5th one. 6, the autonomous student will be able to know if it is an autonomous student if, first, not afraid of taking risks and continue to work hard despite obstacles. A student is eager to learn no matter how hard and challenging obstacles he or she may encounter. Second, he is confident, secure, and has a positive self-concept. It means, despite the obstacles, learners, as autonomous, are still confident and positive outlook for everybody. Perhaps they believe if you stay positive, the new opportunities and chances will prevail, but the negative will fade on your way. 3. He is intrinsically motivated and enthusiastic to learn without needing approval. For example, the autonomous student with motivation helps the learners to become driven and competitive to support seeking knowledge for its own sake, ultimately fostering both types of motivations to help students to develop good study habit and investment in learning. Fourth, he is confident enough to work independently without the teacher or instructor guidance.